In this video, I'd like to spend a few minutes talking to you about the benefits of migrating from device licensing or serial number licensing to shared device licensing. Serial number licensing is sometimes referred to as device licensing. So for the duration of this video, I will refer to them both as device licensing. Normally, I cover only technical aspects of migration and deployment, but one question that I find keeps coming up from IT admins is regarding more of the strategy behind shared device licensing. Now, why did Adobe create it, and why is Adobe having us do extra work to migrate to shared device licensing? And that's a fair question. But if you don't mind, I'd like to replace that ubiquitous question and answer instead the question of how do you benefit from leaving device licensing and replacing it with the new shared device licensing? Is new always better, you may ask? In this case, yes, new is better. Let's start by reviewing a little background that I think will help you better understand our goals for end users and for you IT admins. Adobe's legacy licensing technology is based on a 32-bit applications that must be retired as operating system vendors are starting to deprecate or have already deprecated support for 32-bit apps. As a result, we took the opportunity in October of 2018 to update our application licensing technology, which makes our platform much more robust and dynamic. It also provides a new modern and more secure licensing platform on which we'll deliver all future Creative Cloud applications and services to our customers. The licensing technology update also provided us with a platform on which we could create a better experience for students, faculty, and all users accessing our products in shared environments like labs, libraries, and classrooms. And this is what you know now is shared device licensing, or as you may hear referenced, SDL. With that background, let's talk about SDL benefits, both from an end user experience and an IT perspective. We'll start with the end user benefits. Unlike device licensing, shared device licensing provides students access to the full power of Creative Cloud's career-relevant digital tools in shared environments. And access to Creative Cloud applications helps students develop the skills employers are looking for in today's workforce. SDL gives your students three main ways to do this. They can now collaborate better in a creative context rather than in an isolated environment like Office 365. SDL will also support new types of work and output that creatives need to do. All of this is tied to a user's identity. So by identifying users, we can allow them to create content that works across mobile and desktop applications in shared environments and collaborate wherever that student goes, whenever the inspiration hits them. And that's why we built the Creative Cloud as a platform that includes both desktop and mobile apps, as well as services and resources. With device licensing, students and faculty really were limited to a subset of older versions of Creative Cloud apps. Some new apps weren't available at all, such as XD and Premiere Rush, and with device licensing, you also had no services. So in the lab, students and faculty, they could access the apps, and remember, these are the older 2018 versions, but that was about it. Shared device licensing allows for a full user experience in labs and classrooms by giving them the latest versions of the apps in a robust, collaborative environment. If you aren't aware yet, it is important to note one main difference between your device licensing and shared device licensing. End users will now be required to sign in order to access the applications. What do they get when they sign in with shared device licensing that they didn't get with device licensing? Well, quite a few things. For one thing, they'll now be able to use the latest versions of applications. Now, I know a lot of you might be asking, well, why not make that available with device licensing that we already have? The answer is because SDL allows the applications to perform as they were intended, which is cloud-based. What does cloud-based mean? Well, it means that you can have access to applications that use Adobe Sensei. In case you don't know what Adobe Sensei is, it's what powers intelligent features across all Adobe products and brings the power of AI and machine learning to the customer experiences. Cloud-based also means that you can have access to shared libraries and other collaborative features between applications, none of which was available with device licensing. And the reason that these features aren't available with device licensing is because with device licensing, you have no access to the cloud at all. In fact, if an end user tried to access the cloud, which only makes sense that they would break that device license and software wouldn't launch at all until an IT created and ran the license package on that device to get it up and running again. With shared device licensing, all that goes away because now signing in is required. So the cloud is now a fully realized extension of the experience of the applications. Also, with your SDL, your end user will have access to cloud storage, which wasn't also not possible with device licensing. Now let's talk about the 2019 versions of the Creative Cloud applications for just a moment. With device licensing, you can't deploy a full suite of 2019 applications in your shared environments. The 2018 versions are the most recent versions that will ever be available in shared environments. But once again, that all goes away with your new shared device licensing. With SDL, you can deploy the latest 2019 app versions like XD and Premiere Rush and the new versions of the apps moving forward. By the way, if you aren't familiar with these two new applications, XD and Premiere Rush, please go to adobe.com, learn more pages. Both of these apps are truly great. With XD, you can prototype mobile apps, integrating assets from other applications, and with Premiere Rush, you can create and edit video content that can be on social media in minutes. It's also compatible with the latest version of Premiere Pro. Okay, to summarize the end user benefits. In short, from an end user's perspective, shared device licensing really will resonate because it allows them access to use the latest version of Creative Cloud apps and allows them to create in a continuous workflow that doesn't interrupt their creative processes. They no longer have to stop what they're doing at the end of their work session and look for find an external hard drive or a jump drive to copy their work onto. Now they can utilize storage for that. Now they can allow the applications to work in harmony, sharing assets seamlessly, and they can take advantage of the latest versions of the cloud-based applications, allowing them to create on the fly wherever they are. So those are some benefits from the end user experience. So now let's talk about a few points that speak to the benefits from an IT perspective. With your new SDL, there are quite a few benefits from an IT perspective. IT now has the ability to organize device management, assign admin rights, manage users, package apps in the admin console, and add products and licenses. So let me cover those one at a time. Let's talk about device management first. With device licensing, you basically had no device management options in the console at all. Your device was listed by host name, and upon activation, it became part of one single list of devices. And to access the device, you either had to scroll through the list or use a search function to find it. Now with SDL, you have options to manage your devices. Now you can group your devices according to profiles. Shared device licensing provides several tools that allow you to control user access to apps, the access policies, egress IP addresses, and associated machines. You can use a combination of these options to prevent unauthorized usage of the apps and protect your student accounts and the assets that they create. Drilling down a little deeper into the associated machines feature, profile permissions can be set according to Active Directory OUs, internal IP ranges, or associated package to allow you to segment labs in your admin console. And this will definitely allow for easier, more organized device management options that they just simply weren't part of the device licensing. Another new IT feature that was not part of device licensing is the ability to assign admin roles. With device licensing, you were either an admin or you weren't, so you could do everything in the console or nothing at all. Now with SDL, you can utilize 3 different admin roles, which will allow you to create an organized division of labor within your IT team if you wish. These admin roles allow you to bring in other users and assign them a particular admin role. Benefit to the IT team here is that you are allowing someone to perform a particular function themselves rather than have them call you and you have to stop what you're doing in order to perform the function for them. You now have the ability to delegate admin functions and share that workload. As I mentioned earlier, end users are now required to sign in to access the apps. From an IT perspective, after your initial setup, the signing in requirement will save you a lot of time and interruption. I speak with IT people all day long, and with device licensing, you're always asking, is there a way to keep the end user from trying to sign in? Okay, it's natural that they would want to sign in. Many end users, they try to sign in, and they're just simply trying to access a shared library. But when they did, they broke that device license, and the software didn't launch until you stopped what you were doing, creating and deployed a license package to get them up and running again. It wasn't a complicated process, but to do it could be a pain to get interrupted all the time. Now, because signing in is required with shared device licensing, interruptions like broken licenses go away. Another benefit that I want to talk about is your new packaging workflow. With device licensing, if you wanted to package the applications, you had to use the Creative Cloud Packager. That was the standalone application that I'm sure you're all familiar with. You had to download it from the Tools tab in the Admin Console. You had to download 2 versions, depending on if you were packaging for Macs or Windows. You had to sign into it, wait for it to initialize before you could even start the packaging process. So that was a little too much work. Now, with SDL, all of that extra Creative Cloud Packager work goes away. Now you can create packages from within the Admin Console and also download them from your console. Packaging process is very similar to using the Creative Cloud Packager, so there's no real learning curve here. It's just so much faster and simpler. One last benefit that I want to mention of SDL today is the ability to purchase products or additional shared device licenses from within the Admin Console directly. It's as simple as clicking the Add Products button. So, to summarize, these are the main benefits for migrating to shared device licensing. End users will have a much more robust experience. You'll have simplified and organized IT management capabilities, and all of this is designed to keep you on the cutting edge of technology. So I hope now that you can see the long-lasting benefits that you and your users will enjoy after your migration to shared device licensing. And please know at Adobe, we do understand that setting up for SDL is initially a little extra work for you. However, I do want to mention to you that we do offer support services to assist you in your migration. In your Support tab in the Admin Console, you can request expert services sessions. Expert sessions enable you to discuss the steps required to migrate with Adobe specialists. Or you also have the option to create a case. You'll use a series of drop-downs to select a specific date, time, and you have the ability to key in specific questions that you might have. If you do have additional questions, please contact your Adobe representative. Well, I want to thank you for your time today, and have a great day.